Vocal onset. Onset is simply the technical or pedagogical term for the commencement of sung sound. Older teachers of the past would generally call onset the vocal attack. Manuel Garcia Jr. used the term the stroke of the glottis, coup de glotte, to describe the action he observed of onset. This term was misunderstood by some people and was interpreted into a physical glottal attack. This term was criticized by some that misunderstood what Garcia was saying. It may have led to many damaging their voices as a result. The singing voice is a continuous series of vibrations. The onset is the beginning of this series of vibrations. A correct onset is of foundational importance. Why? As we start the first vibration correctly, we can then continue to keep that good action going. However, if the voice is started incorrectly, i.e. constrictively, the singer then needs to work harder during the successive notes to undo the constriction and free their voice up. As there are many onset actions occurring during a sung piece of music, an incorrect onset can destroy the efficiency of production, making singing tiring, causing the student to lose vocal stamina. The singer is constantly focused on trying to free their voice. Thus, the singer will then lose focus on the most important aspect of singing, which is expressing the music. The onset needs to be spontaneous and instinctively natural. Every onset becomes second nature. When this is achieved, every note commences the same.
The structure of singing. Richard Miller. The way a singer initiates vocal sound is crucial to the subsequent phrase. A good beginning to the singing tone is of prime consideration regardless of the achievement level of the singer. Only if the onset of each phrase demonstrates the principle of non-static, that is, dynamic, laryngeal muscle balance and elasticity, is the singer assured of freedom. Otherwise, muscle equilibrium will have been replaced by muscle rigidity.
An open throat is the ideal objective of great singing. It is achieved by a freely functional and efficient mechanism. This is difficult to attain and/or maintain if the onset is not correct. What are the correct sounds of an onset? The onset should start on the open throat. We have no real feelings at the vocal fold level, so any perceptible attack of the vocal folds is an indication of violence, and can be quite injurious to the voice in the long term. The sound should have no sense of abrupt commencement. The commencement of a good onset should give the listener and singer an appearance of a self-starting tone, a spontaneous action. Onset should never have any glottal attack, no scooping, no intonation or vowel changes or distortion. The vowel and pitch should be centered and balanced. The onset should never start on a push, pull, lift, or depression of the mechanism. The mechanism moves nowhere on onset. It stays free at a balanced position. Our goal as singers is to give the appropriate freedom for the mechanism to function freely as it is designed to for each vowel, pitch, and intensity sung.
From the book, Vocal Wisdom, by Giovanni Battista Lamperti, William Earl Brown. To know the result before we act is the golden rule of singing. When your tone emerges from silence into sound without effort, focused, yet free, with sufficient energy to release, or restrain, back of it, you are one of the greatest singers. A tone must be self-starting, self-prolonging, and self-stopping.
What happens in a correct onset? The onset occurs at the point of functional vibration, which is at the larynx itself. The thought process has to be at the larynx and diaphragmatic dissension. This involves the maintenance of pharyngeal space around the larynx, preventing constrictive closure and the rising of the physical larynx. Any thought higher than the physical larynx at onset will cause the larynx to lift higher with the position of thought. The simple act of consciously letting go of the throat will achieve this. All this occurs while coordinating with the diaphragmatic descent to initiate the onset. This onset is not an imposition of force. It is a release and allowance of the mechanism to vibrate, seemingly on its own. The diaphragmatic dissension action is a split second in front of the initiation of the sound, and it seems to initiate the vibration. Otherwise, the larynx will be gripped through a constrictive hold. The downward apogeo support lean action passes the physicality of singing onto the diaphragm and releases any gripping hold that comes as a result of a lack of coordinated engaged support.
From Douglas Stanley's Your Voice. Attack depends, in the first place, upon a clear mental concept of tone, pitch, vowel and loudness to be sung. No self-listener can ever make a proper attack. Attack also depends upon the relative relaxation of all muscles used in phonation at the instant before the tone is initiated. Let this point be clear. Muscles which have come into tension before the inception of a given act cannot be used for that act, unless they are first relaxed and then retensed. Only when the muscles used in phonation come into action at the exact moment of attack can they coordinate properly in the production of the tone. The preparation for this act is one of relaxing tension, not of setting it.
The vocal onset is one of the most important actions of the singing process. Why? Because onset is the beginning of an action, it is part of the creation process of singing. The sounds produced are the very end of that singing process whose existence is owed to the correct actions of creation.